Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you my second alternative project using the October 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Ho Ho Ho. This fun kit created 9 Christmas cards, 3 in 3 different designs. I just want to point out really quickly that this November kit, which you need to subscribe by November 10th to receive, coordinates really nicely with this October kit that I'm sharing with you today. So if you like this kit and you want to get a kit that will coordinate well, you should jump over to paperpumpkin.com and subscribe, and you can get the link to that in the description of this video below. And I do know that they're Christmas tags, and what I like to do is take the contents of the kit and create alternatives. And so I will be taking those Christmas tags and turning them into greeting cards. So make sure to watch my channel and subscribe by using the link in the bottom right corner so that you can see those fun alternatives for this month and for next month's kit. So here are the designs that the kit created. And if you're interested in seeing me create these original cards, you can watch my unboxing video or any of my other alternative videos by clicking on the playlist, and I'll link that in the top right corner. So these are super cute and came with so many fun elements. And so I took those elements, and today I'm going to share with you a way you can get 2 cards from one of the card bases. So I'm going to use this card base along with some of the other elements to create 2 cards. And I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you're interested in purchasing any of the products you see me use today, you can do so using the links in the description below, and they will take you to my online store. So to create these cards, we need to take these 2 pieces from the kit, and we are going to cut them down. So let's start with the card base. I am going to cut the front of the card base from the back, and I want to cut just a slightly smaller than 4 1/4. So I'm just going to find the 4 1/4 marking and then just bring it down just the tiniest bit. And that's just going to remove it so that I don't see that crease line and I get a nice solid cut. Sometimes if you cut in the crease, it gets a jaggedy edge. Then I'm going to rotate this and I'm going to cut it in the middle at 2 3/4 inches. And we're going to be using each of these for our cards. So you can see the card on this one and then how it is displayed, on this one. For the back piece, just place this off to the side. I'm sure I'll use it in a future alternative card. And then we're going to take this long rectangle. So there are 2 of these snowflake die cut background pieces. This is the skinny rectangle piece, and we're going to cut it in half, and that is going to also be at 2 3/4 inches. And you just want to double check that the center of these shapes lines up with your cut line, and you need to have a nice sharp blade because this is a very delicate piece, and just go nice and slowly so that you don't accidentally rip it. So you can see right there how close that is to the edge. So we're going to cut these 2 a little differently. So for our first card, we're going to keep the top and the bottom stitching, and we're going to remove the side. So you see that this is the side that we've already cut, that's in the middle. We're going to keep the top and the bottom stitching, and we're just going to remove that side stitching. And what I'm looking for when I line this up on my paper trimmer is that this opening here where the shape is, I don't want to see any of the brown that sits along the edge of my paper cut line. And so I'm going to line it up so that I can see the brown and then slowly slide it until that brown disappears. And then I can trim and it will cut off that stitching right on the stitch line. Do you see that? So I have this nice piece where I have stitching on just the top and the bottom. Okay, and that's for our first card. And then for our second card, we're actually removing the stitching on all sides. So go ahead and repeat that same process for all of the cards. So find the brown on the inside and then slide down until the brown disappears, and then trim that off. It's a fairly delicate piece, so just be very careful with it as you're cutting. So the only extra supplies that you need is a card base, and I'm using a card base of Early Espresso cardstock, and I've cut it to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5.5 inches. And then I have already stamped my greetings and fussy cut those out, and then also have stamped onto my Santa. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to put all these pieces together. So on my card base, I am going to stamp a decorative design in the top left and bottom right corners. I'm going to do that in Early Espresso, which is the color of ink you receive in your paper pumpkin kit. And I'm using the snowflake stamp that was also in the paper pumpkin kit. So just a couple in the top left area, and then some in the bottom right. Then you're going to take the 2 pieces that we cut, and remember we're using, this one has the stitching on the top and bottom, and I've added glue dots to the back, and I have used mini because I feel like they do fit better along the edges, and then the regular size in the center. And I'm going to place this in the center, and it should match up. So there will be a little bit of a border on the left and right sides, but I'm looking for this stitching to match up with the color change. So between the red and the crumb cake. That's kind of what I was looking for when I lined it up. Next, I'm going to take some twine, and this is the crumb cake color that comes in the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. And I've cut 20 inches. And I'm going to wrap it around the center, and I'm going to wrap it twice. So I'm just going to place those edges together, add my element right to the center of those pieces on this right side, and then wrap one to the front and wrap the other to the back, and then tie a knot, and then tie a bow. Then I'm going to add this to the middle of my card base with just a little adhesive on the top and bottom, and just try to eyeball the center. And then we'll add some elements to the center of this piece. So I'm going to use the mini dimensionals, and I'm going to attach my Santa right in the center, and I'm placing the dimensionals onto the piece first, so that way I know that it's not going to get inside those holes and stick down that piece, because I want it to be popped up. And then just place that right in the middle. Then those greetings, I'm going to add Christmas down in the bottom right corner. Make sure to show that cute stitching. And then Holly Jolly, this is another of the images that you get in the stamp set. So just place that at an angle. And I did add a dimensional on the left and a glue dot on the right so that it would sit nice and straight on the card. And then the last thing that I added to this card are some of the vanilla gems that came in the kit. Just add a couple, maybe 1 or 2 in a corner, and then another one near the top. And that card is all done. So for card number 2, we're going to do some stamping in the background. And one of the fun things that I found out about this snowflake die cut is that this cute little snowflake stamp fits inside. So you're just going to ink it up in Early Espresso and then rotate so that the arms of the snowflake match up with the shape on the inside. You'll get something that looks like this. And you're just going to repeat that for all of the areas, even along the outside edge. Okay, so you'll end up with something that looks like this. And mine's not perfect, and it is just a background element, so it's okay if things are shifted and not perfectly centered. Then we're going to take that piece, and I've added some liquid glue to the back, and I'm going to place it in the center, and there will be a border all the way around this piece since we removed all of the stitching. So just try to find the center and then flip it over and use your finger or a bone folder to smooth out the glue. And then we can add this to our card base, which is the same cardstock that I used for the first one. It's just the other half. So it is 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2 inches. And I'm going to add this about a 1/2 inch or so from the top of the card base all the way across. So use your grid paper to make sure that's nice and straight on your card. And then I've cut a strip from the extra piece from yesterday's alternative. So this is the back piece of the card base, and it's 1 inch by 4 1/4. And I'm going to tuck that underneath before that glue dries. So if by chance my glue is all dry, I can just trim it. And we're going to show that we want about a half of an inch of that cardstock showing. So go ahead and line the bottom of the first piece onto your grid paper and then just slide that underneath until it reaches about a 1/2 of an inch. I should have probably added this to the bottom of that piece first, but I got ahead of myself. So go ahead and take your bone folder and smooth that liquid glue out so you don't get any buckling. So now we can just decorate this. I'm going to first add some more of that crumb cake twine, and I'm going to do 18 inches of this twine this time. If you don't have the crumb cake color, you could also use linen thread. It's a very similar color and thickness, so that would be a good replacement. I just had this crumb cake and it matches and coordinates so well. So I'm going to also tie this on the right side. And then you can add all of your fun elements. So I've got a large, medium, and small snowflake, and I have added a mini dimensional to the center of each of those snowflakes. And I'm just going to add those to my card. I'm going to do the big one kind of in the top left area, and then the middle one down a little bit more, and then the small one kind of all by itself in the top right area. And then I have also added the die cut ho 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 onto the vellum, and then took some small pieces and tucked them underneath with some, and those are dimensional, so this one pops up as well. And I'm just going to tuck that right next to 'Tis the Season coming onto those snowflakes. So make sure when you stamp your greeting, you stamp it all the way to the right side of that strip. And then I did forget that I added a little wink of Stella to my cards. So both of my cards have a little wink of Stella. There's a little shine right there in Santa's hat, and then on the white edges and a little bit in the mustache. You can really add as much of wink of Stella as you want to these cute die cut pieces. It's just a fun little element that you can add for a little bit of surprise. And then on the ho ho ho, I just added a little highlight coming down each H, kind of at the top on the left side. Just a fun little element of shimmer to the card. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create these two fun alternative cards from the October 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you are interested in getting any of the products that you've seen me use today, you can visit my online store, and the link is in the description below. If you'd like to get written instructions or see close-up images of this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.